Okay, if you guys have been following the Ziyah Harris case, then you know that she was just 13 years old at the time of her disappearance. Ziyah went missing on January the 9th, 2024, and her grandmother, Annette Harris, officially reported her missing on January the 10th, 2024. Unfortunately, Ziyah or her body has yet to be found. Now, yesterday, Roxy, who is the cousin of Ziyah Harris, her mother went on live to address some questions related to Ziyah Harris' case and also the family dynamics. She participated in a live panel where people were able to come up and, ask questions, and she answered, the questions as they came up. Now, keep in mind that this was recorded on live, so each person that came on may have had background noise or distraction. So, but I think it's pretty clear to hear. Now, what was interesting from this is because Roxy mother, she gave her perspective of Jarvis Butts as far as, her dealings that she had. She also addressed Shannon Harris, whether or not she was pregnant with a sixth child, because there's been some talk about that. And then also another big thing that she addressed was the relationship between Ziyah Harris' grandmother, Annette Harris, who legally adopted her according to her testimony on the stand, and then Ziyah Harris' biological mom, who goes by Lady. So let's listen to this.
So I watched a podcast that Roxy and I believe her cousin were on when her cousin came out and talked about the essay that happened to her at the hand of Shannon and her twin.
Yeah, Sierra
made an attempt to confront them, and they kind of just, swept it under the rug. Yeah, we're here for you, cousin. We need to talk. I thought that she had mentioned something that Ziyah and Shannon were pregnant at the same time. She said, and I know Janelle was on another podcast with Community Advocate and was saying that she had 5 children. It was almost 6. Was she pregnant at the time that she went missing?
Yeah, I believe she had a baby in January 2023.
Okay, so the year prior. Because she had the last baby, it looked like, from her Facebook in January of 2023.
Right, so she would have had 5, and then I believe Shannon miscarried one.
Okay. Wow.
Let's run that number up for the petition. Try to post it, both petitions, to get other people to sign. So let's run the number up, because the more people that's concerned and show it by signing, the more we can go about making a change or a law, and even to get everybody responsible held accountable.
Yeah, I agree. Because if anybody's gonna stick together, women are.
Yep, and that we are. Amen.
I have a question, and somebody in the comments asked this: how did you perceive Jarvis before?
I didn't think that he was that kind of a person. He was like a shy, and I'm here and I'm not here. Like, he moved around real quick and he had his head down. So, I saw him, but I didn't pay attention to him, I guess, until how you rethink about somebody. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh yeah, he he didn't have his head up. He did kind of put his head down. He was moving quick.
Kind of like a sneaky type.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, they pick their victims very well. These kind of men pick their victims very well, and they know who they can run game on. And now he probably looked at your face and knew that you wasn't the one. And he knew that when he looked at Shannon, she was the one. Mm-hmm. If you listen to the jail phone call and stuff like that, he's talking to his fiance and he's going off on her, talking about, yeah, I gave you the ring, but such and such and such. And then he even made a statement that said, everybody know what it is with Shannon.
Yeah.
He's a master. He's a master manipulator. Make no mistake about it. He's acting in court like he's shy, but if you listen to his phone conversations, he is not shy at all. That is just the act. Please don't believe that.
Right.
Well, he gonna put on that performance for who he could put on that performance for. He had a
Hey,
criteria.
host, you could drop me down.
You're right. A performance. You're right.
They all checked off all the same boxes when they went up on that stand. Every single one of them. The fiance he didn't have kids with, she looked like she put a little more effort in that morning. But they all, for the most part, checked off the same boxes.
Lonely, desperate, low self-esteem, and or maybe a victim.
Yeah. All right. One last question I have is it had came up in conversation on the Advocate Network. Be quiet. The Advocate Network that Janelle was on, that there was an incident with a 35-year-old neighbor who had autism, who lived in a group home. That's why she was instructed. I guess CPS got involved. Somehow or another, I don't know if they were insinuating Annette didn't want to press charges or CPS didn't, but they made her move. That's why she moved into a different home on Bedford.
She didn't move. She bought that house. So she was living in the house, and then she bought a house, and that's the house she bought. That's where she's at.
Oh, so was there an incident that she was aware of with the neighbor?
From what I understand.
And was that reported by her, or she kind of just
Blew it off, swept it up under the rug.
Okay.
I bet you one thing. I bet you that that there are going to be more victims coming out. I can bet money on that. It could be from his own children to neighborhood children. It's just going to be so many more victims.
Well, there's quite a few out there now.
Well, was he a victim? I mean, I'm not giving him no pass by far. I'm just trying to understand the profile of the person that we're talking about.
From what we understand, his mother's friend made him a
When he had a baby when he was 13.
From what we understand.
So, and that's probably why the grandmother raised him and the sister.
Probably.
JPEG, do you have a question?
I do. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there was rumors going around that Annette was married or is married, and that her husband was also into the same type of activities that Jarvis is, where he would go to hotels with underage girls. And
This is why I pop on people's panels. So Annette is not married.
okay.
And when she was married, her children were not adults.
Okay.
That's the Charles who they said was messing with the kids.
Now, if you want to know about that part, from what I understand, when Annette was married, her husband by the name of Charles raped her daughter, which is Lady, and she did nothing about it.
Lady's oldest child is not Charles, is it?
No, Ziyah is Vari is not.
No, not Nazaya, her brother.
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Hello, Miss Roxy. Again, you have my condolences.
Wow, that was a lot to take in. I know there's been a lot of talk about Nazia's mother, you know, why she was adopted, the family history there, the dynamics of it. And again, Roxy's mother, Miss Kenya, did state that this is from what she knows, right? That Annette is not currently married, but she was previously married. And when she was previously married, unfortunately, from what she knows, Ziyah Harris' mother, who goes by Lady, was assaulted by Annette's prior husband. So that is a lot to take in. I know she also gave her perspective about Jarvis Butts, And then yesterday I had uploaded a call that he had with his fiance, or a couple of days ago, I can't remember, but that is on my page. You can go out there and listen to that. That shares a different perspective. It is so much with this case and so much to process. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Now I do want to get into while she was also on that same live, she did share her take on King. There's been a lot of talk online about King, which, as you guys know, Cordell King, right? He is Jarvis Butts' business associate, or was his business associate, and he testified in the preliminary hearing. Now, he testifies about the day, January the 9th, Ziyah, from what he said is that Jarvis Butts was driving down the street. He saw someone who he identified as his niece, which turned out to be Ziyah, and then he, goes on to explains what happened. Now, there's been a lot of speculation online about whether or not King was involved in Ziyah Harris' disappearance, and that question came up yesterday while Roxy's mom was on the panel. And she gave her perspective of whether or not she believed King was involved and if he was wrong. So let's listen to that.
All these lies.
That's why Roxy and myself are popping in on people's platform to see what's going on.
My question I had went more into King. So when he says that they're driving and they're in the car and they spot her, well, he says he wasn't paying attention. Drivers has spotted her and they pull up on her, and then she just get in the car. There's no talking, and she just riding with them the full day. Me personally, in my opinion, that is suspicious to say they didn't have any conversation about where you're going. Let me drop you off at home. She just chilling with them for the day, and they didn't question, or he didn't have no question as to why, where she going or when we're going to drop her off, if she's just with them for the rest of the day. Did you have any opinion or a feeling about that, or say that that's a question? Because if I see somebody driving, or I'm driving down the street and I see somebody I do know, I'm going to say, hey, where you going? Or, what you doing? Before, he just said there was no conversation to just get in and she just be with them for the full day.
Right. And I'm going to point this out, and that's the difference between a man and a woman.
Okay. That might be true.
We're motherly. We have intuitions. We have thoughts like that. Men don't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that was just my question, my take on it.
May I ask a question?
Are you referring to King?
I'm referring to King and Jarvis, the ride when they had picked her up from off the bus.
Because he did say, let's drop her, let's let her go. Personally, it's a real man is gonna point that out, because they don't even want to be around little kids like that.
When I had looked into it, he said he didn't say anything until something had happened with the car. He said that the car had died or went out of gas, and that is when he said, are we going to take her home? After they had already went to Isolani and drove and everything. So I don't know.
So he did his part technically.
Mm-hmm. But I think that it just took a long time to where she didn't got in the car. Y'all didn't say anything. He said that there was music on. They just riding around, which, yes, he didn't know her. But to get in the car and her just be there for hours, just sitting at the shop, and they didn't say, oh, well, let me call your mama or let me call your auntie. When am I going to take you home? It just was no question. It's her just chilling at the shop.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, from my point of view, he probably wasn't even really thinking about that part. He was thinking about doing what he needed to do for his grandson's grandmother vehicle and getting back into where he needed to be on time because he was on talent.
Mm-hmm.
I see her when he pointed her out to me. Yes, I recognize her walking across the street.
Okay. And so you guys pull over. Where does she get into the car at?
I believe she getting behind me, so the back seat behind me.
Okay. Does Jarvis say anything to her?
Yeah, she speaks to both of us, and we speak back.
Okay. What does he say to her?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. And where do you guys go after you pick up his niece?
Back to the shop.
Okay, and that's at 9,000 Connor?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you guys do when you get back to 9,000 Connor?
He back in. We get out. We proceed to working on the Jaguar. I may have got out the car first with the parts, and he was in the car with her for a second. I got out, started working on the Jaguar.
And what happens next? What do you guys do?
I believe she get out, get into the front seat, reposition herself to the front seat of his truck. It was colder that day. I believe she started the truck. We started working on the Jaguar, putting the parts back on. It took a little minute. Like I said, it was a difficult job, so it took a while. At some point, I believe his truck ran out of gas, so we had to stop what we were doing to push his truck to the gas pump so he could get some gas.
So you said that she gets out of the car that you guys were in?
Yes.
Okay, and then she gets into Jarvis's truck?
No. We was always in Jarvis' truck.
Okay.
So she gets out the back seat and repositions herself to the front seat so she can start the cover.
And tell me, what kind of car, or what kind of truck does Jarvis drive?
Escalade.
Okay. And what color?
It's pearl white.
Okay. What, if you can see, what is his niece doing while you guys are working on the shop, at the shop?
I believe she's on her cell phone, I believe.
Does Jarvis ever take his niece anywhere while you guys are working at the shop?
No.
No? Okay. Did you ask him if he was going to take her home at all?
I believe I asked him, was he going to drop her off when the truck ran out of gas? We had to push it to the pump. It was just a distraction from work, so I asked, was he going to drop her off? He said no.
And did you finish working on the Jaguar that day?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens after you finish up on the Jaguar?
I called my son, grandma, and asked her how she was going to retrieve the vehicle. She said she was going to tow it back. I told her she didn't have to do that. That was just spending extra money. So I asked Jarvis, was it all right if we dropped it off? He said yes. And we started making preparations to do so.
Do you recall about what time you guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave?
Right around 7:30ish, somewhere around there.
When do you guys eventually leave the shop?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me about who all leaves the shop?
Me, Jarvis, and his niece.
Okay. And tell me about the driving arrangements.
So I drove my 300 and Jarvis drove the Jaguar.
And where was his niece at?
She was with him in the front seat of the Jaguar.
Now, are you able to recall what his niece looked like that day?
Yes. Faintly, but yes.
Do you remember what kind of clothing she was wearing?
I remember she had her jacket on. Like I said, a coat. It was cold, so I think it was colorful.
Colorful?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're on May I approach?
Yes.
And Mr. Wright, I'm approaching you with People's Proposed Exhibit 2. And I'm going to direct you to the top left corner Can you tell me, is there anything that you recognize in that?
The jacket in Channel 1.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate depiction of?
So we've heard Miss Kenya, who is Roxy's mom, you know, her perspective of King and his, whether or not she believes he was involved, right? And then we heard a little bit of King's testimony, which is why a lot of people have been speculating on whether or not King may potentially be involved. I do want to say thank you to everyone who is supporting my channel. Again, I am very new to YouTube. I've always been intrigued with true crime, and I just decided to start a YouTube channel, you know, try to bring more awareness to my website, and just like other cases that I've covered, I try to cover it based on what's already in the court record versus me speculating on it. If you support my channel, I definitely appreciate it. I know that everyone presents the content differently, right? So it may or may not be for you. If it's for you, I appreciate your support. If it's not, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other, you know, content creators who are definitely covering Ziyah Harris case. So if it's not for you how I'm covering it, please, you know, don't feel like you have to leave a comment to let me know that. Just, you know, go to someone else's page. But I don't want to focus too much on that. Just, I appreciate the support that I have been getting, and for anyone who has, you know, liked, comment, or subscribed, definitely appreciate it. So please let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Thank you.